honest, man, at a specific point, I just have to be impressed with the stupid things that Jackson Mahomes does, because it seems like each and every time that he grabs a headline, he just shows the world how out of touch with reality this man truly is. If you thought dancing on Sean Taylor's memorial was bad or dumping water on a Baltimore Ravens fan was bad, wait until you see his latest way of distracting Patrick Mahomes from the fact that he is going to be in the NFL playoffs in a few weeks. Now, before we get to this idiot's latest antics, I just want to remind you guys that we're giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. And when we hit 50,000 followers on Instagram, I think we're like 500 followers away there, I'm giving away an additional $500. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! We all know the number one thing I'm the most incredible at, and it's not making analysis videos or news videos, it's making my weekly NFL picks. I'm making this week's picks on my favorite platform to make picks on, and that's Bounty Sport. Because on Bounty Sports, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you can literally enter this contest for free, and I'm all for entering free contests so I could potentially win $1,400 in total prizes. And we all know how good I am at doing this, so let's get this party started. We got the Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. We got the Panthers and the Bills. Come on, bro. There's no way the Bills are gonna lose this one. We got the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. Zach Wilson doesn't look so good in New York, man. Let's go with the Dolphins. We got the Cardinals and the Lions. If I miss this one, I'm gonna die. Like, I'm literally gonna die if I miss Cardinals and the Lions. We got the Jaguars versus the Texans. I don't care if the Texans are ranked lower. The Jags are so incompetent, and it's not even their fault. We made so many videos on Urban that, like, we got the Washington football team against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Washington football team's really injured currently. We got the Cowboys versus the Giants. It would stink if my Dallas Cowboys lost this. The Bengals versus the Denver Broncos. Ooh, this is a tough one. I like Joey B and the gang. We got the San Francisco 49ers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go with the 49ers here. The Packers versus the Ravens. I don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play, but I can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. We got the Seahawks versus the Rams. Let's go with the LA Rams. And finally, the Buccaneers versus the Saints. That's an easy one, man. I'm sure I got all of them this week, man. There's not too many crazy picks here. I don't think there's not really any upsets. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about my picks. And remember, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you pretty much get to enter this contest for free because they give you a free $5 deposit. And thank you, Bounty Sports, for the sponsor. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? We have covered Jackson Mahomes way too much on this channel this past year. And for those of you guys that don't know who Jackson Mahomes is, he is Patrick Mahomes' little brother, who is more notorious for being a TikTok influencer. Now, I have nothing against TikTok influencers. I have nothing against TikTok dances. Actually, no, I have a problem with the way Jackson Mahomes does TikTok dances. Look, there are times where I see TikTok dances and I actually think, wow, this actually took a lot of skill and was very difficult to pull off, and this individual that is performing said dance is very talented. And then I see Jackson Mahomes literally just studying the trendy TikTok dance that a bunch of young kids are doing just in hopes of blowing up on the platform, and it makes me want to vomit inside. The worst part is, in the very beginning of the season, you would just see he would do these TikTok dances at the absolute worst time. I mean, have you noticed that we weren't really talking about this guy about a year ago or 2 years ago? Well, that's because Patrick Mahomes didn't have to deal with any adversity, at least not tremendous adversity. Yeah, he lost the Super Bowl last year, but if you're getting to the Super Bowl, chances are that you had a pretty damn good regular season, and for the most part, Patrick Mahomes has had one of the best careers in NFL history, at least from the start of his career up until last year. Hell, this year he's been pretty good as well if you're comparing him to the average QB, but in the beginning of the season, he got off to a slower start than usual, and he was grabbing headlines for the wrong reasons because, yeah, he was playing like an average QB, which is a problem if you're Patrick Mahomes. You're typically playing like a superhuman QB if you're Patrick Mahomes. And this is where we get to the issue of Jackson Mahomes, because While all this is going down, Jackson's recording videos of himself dancing next to Patrick as he's studying a playbook, who doesn't really care about the situation very much, but the situation gets so bad that it eventually gets back to Patrick, and he is asked a question in a press conference in regards to his brother, which just is an additional distraction. And if you think that isn't bad, if you think the fact that he's not a consistent nuisance to his brother that gave him the platform that he has, which he just uses to do weird dances all day, nothing proves to us that he's more out of touch and self-centered than the fact that this man literally danced on Sean Taylor's number when they were honoring him when the Kansas City Chiefs faced off against the Washington football team. Now, I'll give him credit, it's been a good 6 weeks since we've last made a video on Jackson Mahomes, and honestly, Patrick Mahomes has been performing a little bit better in Kansas City Chiefs games. For the most part, the Chiefs defense is really coming along, and it seems like they're very locked in and ready to make this playoff run. I mean, who knows? For all you know, we could find the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl for the 3rd straight year. But of course, Jackson Mahomes didn't like that, because Jackson Mahomes needs all the attention with his latest antic. Take a look at this. Apparently, Jackson Mahomes went to a Kansas City bar called SOT Social. It's very important for you to know, this is literally a Kansas City local bar that is calling out Jackson Mahomes, who is the brother of Kansas City's hero, Patrick Mahomes. So listen to this story. It is absolutely absurd, man. Now, according to this article, and I've been looking for this one part of the story and I can't find it. I guess Jackson Mahomes deleted it on time. Jackson Mahomes recently shared a TikTok regarding his experience at the cocktail bar, SOT. Per TMZ, in the since deleted video, he said he got bad service and asked his followers if they had any similar experiences. In an Instagram post that has also since been removed, SOT heavily criticized Jackson's behavior during his visit to the bar and called out the audacity of his video. To give you an idea, Jackson Mahomes went to this bar and said, oh my god, I got horrible service. Does anyone else go to this bar? Does anyone else get bad service like me? And the bar absolutely destroyed him, as they should. This should be a lesson to anyone that happens to be an influencer, because you don't really know what your influence holds, man. Like, some people just don't understand already how difficult it is to own a bar, how difficult it is to have a successful business that is a small business, that is a restaurant. Every single restaurant I've been to since the pandemic has hiked up their prices, because especially in California, there was a period where we couldn't even go to restaurants because the mandates were a little bit more strict on us. So I could only imagine how difficult it is for restaurants to stay alive during this period without having influencers calling you out on their platform. So look at their response, because you could get an idea of how bad it was based off of what this bar says. SOTKC says, "It's time to have a talk. Today we are experiencing a lot of activity over social media regarding a recent visit paid to us by an unhappy guest. This person happens to have a lot of followers on social media, and therefore it is something that we cannot ignore. Voice, reach, and influence are power. In our case, and with many businesses that are locally owned, the power of a few social media personalities can make or break that business. This grants these people this certain power to affect our livelihoods. There are those who are built their influence by being responsible, informed, positive, and sincere. Then there are those that have built their followings by being the opposite. That being said, we have some apologies to make. Dear Jackson Mahomes," and oh my goodness, this is where it gets really freaking bad. "We are sorry that we set boundaries that you try to ignore. Oftentimes, people with unearned status and a sense of entitlement think that they are above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them. We are sorry we could not seat your very large group. As you probably saw, our bar is very small." So it seems like the issue that they got into is Jackson Mahomes probably wanted a large group to be seated. The bar may have been a little busy or understaffed, which is something else that I'm seeing consistently during the pandemic. Up until recently, at least in California, people were getting unemployment money. There wasn't a lot of incentive to go work. I know that's like months and months and months ago, and they ended that in September, but for the most part, when I go to these restaurants, they are understaffed. We are sorry that you have the reach that you do, or at least that you think you do, and that instead of using it for something positive, you decided to use it to try and crush a small business. We survived a global pandemic and will survive your ego. We are sorry you didn't reach out to us first before taking it to social media. But then again, that is an expectation we would have from a mature and rational person, not someone who pours water on fans and dances on the memorials of tragically lost people for TikTok clout. Jesus Christ. Christ, dude. Oh my God. You could tell that they got hit really bad if they're bringing up the Sean Taylor Memorial Dance and if they're bringing up the water pouring and all of that stuff. But it gets worse. We have not been fortunate enough to be born into a much more talented and much more famous family, but we would like to think that if we did have that much luck, we would use our influence in more responsible ways. We hope our apology finds you well. A couple days later, they actually gave a follow-up to this apology, which, by the way, man, props to this bar, because honestly, there's no excuse for that type of behavior. Not only did they address a negative thing, but they blew it up so much that a lot more people probably know what SOT is. If I go to Kansas City, I'm gonna look at this bar and say, oh, this is the bar that absolutely took a dump on Jackson Mahomes for acting like an entitled brat. It's been the #1 most trending thing on Twitter for the past like 5 hours, so they definitely blew up their bar a little bit, and I think everybody is on the bar side in this instance. I haven't seen a single tweet that said, oh my God, this bar is out of line for what they said. And to be honest, man, I think this bar is also saying what all of Kansas City is feeling. We talked about in the past the one fan that asked Brittany Matthews to behave herself, relax a little bit during the Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs game, and that the Kansas City Chiefs were bigger than that fan or Brittany or Patrick. And we saw how Brittany went ahead and just told the woman to shut up on Twitter. So you could tell that while the entire Kansas City Chiefs fan base and all of Kansas City probably absolutely adores Patrick Mahomes, they're not loving the family that comes with it. I've seen many memes saying that Patrick Mahomes needs to pull an Aaron Rodgers, but here's the thing. The bar actually issued an additional apology, and I thought it was a very classy one. Yesterday, we released an apology that was anything but authentic. The team at SOT is committed to providing every guest that walks through our doors with the best experience possible, while treating them with respect and humility. Yesterday, we failed to meet those expectations. Social media can be used in so many different ways, and yesterday our team used it to personally attack and question the character of someone we do not know personally. Out of all the ways this situation could have been handled, we did it the wrong way. We want everyone to know that we acknowledge our shortcomings in this situation, and even though we failed to meet our own, and we're sure many of our followers' expectations with our social media presence yesterday, we promise to do better, to be better, to think before reacting, and most importantly, to use our following to bring the community we love so much together instead of being combative and dividing it. All each of us can do is try to be better than we were the day before. We appreciate and love you, Kansas City. So it seems like they're admitting, hey, we snapped a little bit, but I don't blame you for snapping, SOT. If someone was trying to take down my small business, someone that literally was handed fame and clout and was born into a fairly wealthy family that is completely oblivious to how his actions affect other people, that is a constant distraction to his brother, that dances on Sean Taylor's memorial and pours water on Ravens fans, and the list goes on and on and on, that only cares about himself and is acting like an entitled brat, I would act the same exact way. Let me know in the comment section down below, whose side are you on? Are you Team Jackson or are you Team SOT? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.